Good morning, Guardians. It is Ebontis here, coming to you guys on June 13th for a good old weekly reset. E3 is live and in action. Got to see some of that stuff last night. Cover some of that later. But for now, let's jump into the game that we at least have on our hands for another month before the beta gets here and distracts all of us. First thing we've got this week is the weekly Nightfall. Undying Mind will be your strike, and your modifiers are going to be specialists, so bring those good sniper rifles with you. They will be doing some work on that boss. Got Juggler, so of course you're going to need some special ammo synths as well. Got Grounded, definitely keep your butt on the ground, you're going to be taking some extra damage. And you've got Chaff, player radar is disabled, so being aware of your surroundings, always important to get through this one. Especially in the last room when those waves spawn, just being aware when you do that damage, it's usually about every quarter of the boss's health, those waves will spawn. So just keep an eye out and listen for those audio cues when waves are coming in. Next we come to the Siva Crisis Heroics. Modifiers we've got this week are Arc Burn, Brawler, and Ironclad. So Arc Burn, of course, having those arc weapons will be beneficial. Brawler, if you get close, you can at least punch something. So it doesn't ever hurt to have an arc subclass there, depending on what you're going for survivability's sake. And then Ironclad, those enemies are going to have more shields, but hopefully with Arc Burn between your primaries and other things, you should be able to blow through those pretty quickly. Pick up your Treasure of Ages here if you're still working on your collections. And then we come to the weekly story playlist. This one is going to be Mars and Venus of the vanilla Destiny experience. And you've got Small Arms and Exposure. So Exposure will be a little annoying, but Small Arms, you could bring Red Death with you and pretty much just tear everything apart. That one actually would work really well. So pretty solid pulse rifle. Keep your health up and then be able to do some solid damage with it. Shouldn't give you too much anguish on any of these missions depending on what you've got to deal with, but I think that should be a pretty solid combo. Deal with Exposure, get that Treasure of Ages from there as well. Then we come to the Challenge of Elders here. We've got modifiers of Precision Kill bonus, so bring those scout rifles, things like that with you to get those precision kills. And your other modifiers are Catapult, so you got plenty of grenades coming your way, and Berserk, the enemies will not flinch. Now the only time they really don't flinch being an issue is the Cabal, which you have those in the third round. Round 1, you've got Kexus the Betrayed, that's Taken Fallen. That one's going to be annoying just due to his little bombs that take away your abilities, but honestly, as its precision kill bonus, that's not that big of a deal. You've got round 2, which is Taken Vex, which is the Seditious Mind. That one's really not too bad, just hang it on the right side, you should be okay. In round 3, you've got Taken Cabal. That's no risk. At least that one's not the regular Cabal. But Taking Cabal will definitely have those enemies with shields, and with them not flinching, you're just going to have to take them out however best you can. Hard to get precision shots in there on the shielded guys, the Phalanx, so definitely go for your precision shots on all of the Scions you can. Finally, for the weekly featured raid, it is Wrath of the Machine time once again. We've got the Vosik Challenge and the Axis Challenge. You guys know what to do here. For the Vosik Challenge, you got to make sure and have 2 different people close 2 doors on the first damage phase and the second damage phase with the little Siva cluster. So 2 people pick those up instead of throwing them at the boss. Run to your respective sides, close the doors, wait for it to go through. Rinse and repeat the second time, close the other 2 doors you didn't close. And then for round 3, you have to kill them because you have no more doors to run into. So first round, 2 doors, second round, 2 doors, third round, take them out. For the Axis Challenge, you just have to make sure it's all about the communication on this one. Make sure your team is spread out, that you know where your empowered people are, and as soon as Axis goes, you've got to slam whoever is not by Axis, slam your supercharge on the platform, so you supercharge everybody, and then have the other person go dunk on his back. So it's a combination of timing and communication to make sure you guys are ready as soon as he teleports to slam the platform that he's not on, that lights up, and then while that's happening, the other person's getting ready to go slam on his back. So communication is the big thing there, but I think you guys will be able to handle it. Might have to try and get myself one of these in this week as well. Next, we come check out Miss Tyra Karn here in the Iron Temple. She's got a couple artifacts for us. Reasonable rolls, but nothing too epic. First, we've got the Memory of Timer. This one only has so many uses. It's PvE only specifically. You do have a 99% stat roll on it, so if you're looking for strength, this may not be a bad one to pick up. This is the one where if you stab any of those enemies of the darkness, you have a chance to turn them against their allies, and then after about 30 seconds, they'll turn back. So pretty straightforward. Then we've got the Memory of Radagast, the reflection with your sword one. So any energy-based projectiles coming to you, you can reflect them back with your sword. And then finally, you've got the Memory of Gellion. Full strength roll here, grants detailed radar. Radar persists when sighting. So the Gellion one is the lowest roll. It's 88%. You've got 99% on Timer and then 93% on Radagast. Nothing too crazy. And again, nothing that I would say is the must-have for the week. 99% is good for the stats if you want it, but unfortunately the artifact, not really a big help most of the time. Next, we come to Shiro 4 and his Iron Lord bounties, where you can always kick off that Thorn quest if you don't have it yet for year 3. Crushing Blows. Use the Iron Battle Axe or powerful enemy weapons to decimate hostile threats. Just go pick up the axe in Archon's Forge. You'll be good to go on this one. Got Together We Rise. Complete public events in the Plaguelands. Again, Archon's Forge counts as a public event, so it's a good way to knock that out. We've got Archon's Forge Captains and Archon's Forge Vandals. So knock all this out in Archon's Forge if you want to. Should be a good place to get this done. And again, this is the place where you get that Thorn quest kicked off from the Iron Lord bounties. As we swing by the tower, checking with Commander Zavala, first we've got that Strike Elite bounty, gold, silver, and bronze tier medals in those strikes. 9 total. Then you've got the Sunrise Nightfall bounty. Always finish that Nightfall within 30 minutes with that gold tier medal achieved, so that's always a good way to get that icebreaker if you still don't have that. And then finally, Simply Perfect. Complete Siva Crisis strikes without any member of your fire team dying to earn flawless medals. So go in there, have a clean run, and you can knock this one out in a couple strikes and you're good to go. Over to the Crucible side of things, we've got our weekly mode, which is going to be Zone Control. This is the one where it's basically like Control, but the only way you get points is actually holding down those zones. So it is 6v6, but the points just slowly tick up the longer you hold the zone. So if you're holding 2 versus 1, you're going to be getting more points. If you hold all 3, well, you're probably not going to hold them long. So try and hold down 2 and you should be good to go. As for your 6v6 modes, we've got Clash and Rift. So those two will pair well with Shaxx bounties that I'll talk about here in a second. Good old Clash, just basically team deathmatch, 6v6, all out crazy. And then you got Rift, the collect the spark and run it and dunk it in the other side without getting taken out. Other than that, you guys know the basics there. We've got Elimination and your 3v3s and smallers for the week. We've got Skirmish and Rumble Supremacy as well. Then we come to Shaxx for the good old bounties that match up with those 6v6 modes. First, we've got Back to Basics for the Clash mode. 7 match completions, 50 primary kills, 25 assists, and 25 ability kills. That one's always a little quicker in Mayhem, but if you just play some Clash, you'll knock it out eventually. And then we've got a game of Rift. 7 match completions, 50 primary kills, 25 assists, and then runner stopped. Best way to get runner stopped is just use a very offensive, powerful super, like Void Bomb or Hammers or something like that. Golden Gun, for example, is a good one. Just something where you can just basically single shot that runner if you can see them, take them out pretty quick. That's always a good way to get that runner stopped thing ticked off in the box. Last but not least, we come over here to the Crucible Quartermaster for their bounties for the week. These are those level, max level weapons that you can get. Specific weapon types, of course, working in their favor as well. You've got Stopping Power, so hand cannon kills. Burst of Victory for pulse rifle kills. Action Reaction for fusion rifle kills. They'll Never See It Coming for sniper rifle kills. And the good old heavy weapon one for Choose Your Moment. So pick these up and you have a chance to get those legendary weapons within that category. Say it's fusion rifles. You'll get a legendary weapon that is possibly up to, max light level, so 400, but it's going to be in a fusion rifle category. So it's weapon type specific for these bounties. So if you're looking for a certain hand cannon or a fusion rifle, it's a good way to go after it. Especially if you like to play Crucible, it's a good thing to do. That pretty much wraps it up for me for this one, guys. Going to be doing some videos over what we saw at E3. Now as we know a little more about Gaul and his craziness. But in general, guys, check in for the videos. I'll be doing the Nightfall solo next. So that'll be the Undying Mind. Look for the link here in the card above or the link in the end once that video is up and loaded. And other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. Keep those subscriptions going. If you enjoy that content, subscribe. Hit that alert bell on the bottom if you do want to see when those new videos pop up. Get it to them very quickly. And other than that, guys, thank you for the support. We'll keep this growing. Destiny 2 beta is about a month away, we know. So lots of information between now and then. Other than that, guys, have a good week, and I will see you soon.